Hi guys, this is Tasha Jones. I am Tasha. I am a lover of Care Bears. I am the founder of Talk to Tasha, which is a support to you social workers out there. I've worked in social work for many, many years, and I recognize that you social workers, we need to have support by way of just understanding the work that you're doing, making sure you're balanced and not running into the whole deal of compassion fatigue and burnout. So oftentimes when I worked in child welfare, it was common for my colleagues would come kind of share what they were going through in life and just in general. And I found myself giving advice and giving nuggets and wisdom, which really kind of sparked the colleagues to keep going, also charging them to take a time out when they needed to. So I found that very, very rewarding. So I said, you know, why not be a power source for social workers and just serve social workers in a capacity that will keep them charged and keep them well balanced, and giving them tangible tools that they can use in practice so that they can take care of themselves. Because we know social workers, we give. And oftentimes in our role in our families, in our community, that's just what we're called to do. We're compassion care bearers, and sometimes we don't know how to turn off that button. And so that's where I come in. I am going to be launching Talk to Tasha formally in the spring of 2018 as I went online and found different resources. If you Google in social work and support to social workers, you get a lot of articles about how social workers support other people. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm supporting you, that social worker that felt so burnt out, feel like leaving a job, feel like throwing your degree on the shelf. You have been called to do this work, and I have been called to serve you in a way that keeps your fire lit when you feel like blowing it out. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm very transparent. If you've seen some of my other clips, you know that I don't have all the beautiful graphics and all that. I'm not a computer person. I just come on, I share what I'm going through, and we also talk a little smack every now and then on Talk to Tasha. We talk business, we talk life, but at the end of it, we talk about solutions, tangible solutions that we can redefine in our lives so that we show up very well balanced and healthy and restored, so we can do what we're called to do. Some of you may have heard my niece was killed in a car accident. Unfortunate with the DUI situation. I wasn't able to even, process that. It's just one of those things that, it just blows you out the water. And I can tell you that as we're still going through that process with her brother that was also in the car, my nephew is recovering because he also was in the car. Their other friend was also killed. Just a tragic, tragic situation. And I can tell you we've cried, we've wept, and we will continue to do that because that's part of the grieving process. But I just want to say that the only way that I'm going to get through and my family's going to get through is we're going to count on support in our camp that keep us lit when we feel like an overwhelming amount of grief. And so it's important for you care bears out there, the same, what makes or break you in a crisis is the amount of support you have. And not just any support, but just some strong spiritual support that's going to guide you through, that's going to lift your hands when you feel like throwing in the towel. And that is why I'm able to, show up. And, I went to church this morning, got a great word about, us being able to support each other in this world, and, being more supportive. And that's exactly what I've been a recipient of. And as a care bear, social work at heart, oftentimes it was hard for me to receive it because I'm so used to helping everybody else. But I think through the process of me starting Talk to Tasha, it's become a new adapted lifestyle for me. So it's easier for me to receive. And in fact, I absolutely love receiving. I don't know why I didn't receive before, because now I'm feeling like I don't have to hold the weight of the world on my shoulders, because there are people out there that care for us, that have answers for us, that can help us, even if it's just to listen, And so that, I'm thanking you guys that are listening and chiming in for the prayers, but that's what helped us get through. If you're going through something tragic, I want to say, as I was thinking about this whole DUI situation, drinking and driving, there's tons of campaigns against drinking and driving, and it's just a horrible thing. We should not be doing that. But I can tell you that I was driving in the country as I was processing. I live in a rural area, and oftentimes I don't know if it's a stop sign or not. But actually, I was thinking really, really hard, you guys. Like, I was in a deep thought. Like, I don't know if you guys can relate, but I was thinking way too hard. I had a lot on my mind. And one of the stop signs I came to, I wasn't going to stop because I was so caught up in the moment that I didn't realize that there was a stop sign. So now what came to me is that I probably don't drink and drive, because I don't drink. Personally, I don't. But you can't be thinking and driving. And thinking and driving is just as deadly as drinking and driving. Because when you have those motor wheels running in your brain and you're overthinking, overanalyzing things, that's just a sign of you probably worried or stressed or anything like that. You can get distracted. I mean, I really did. There was a truck coming by, flying through. He was rightfully in the right to be going through. I didn't even think twice. I'm like, oh my goodness, I almost didn't stop at the stop sign. So I just want to encourage you, like, sometimes we kind of think we're far removed from things, but for me, the way my brain is wired, I'm always able to take a situation. Not always, but for the most part, I try to be in tune of a situation and what is it that I'm supposed to be learning from it. So my whole thing is don't think and drive. And I'm not talking about like basic thinking. I mean, of course, we're thinking about the destination we're going through and all that. But if you do some deep thinking while you're driving, I mean, to the point where your thoughts are so heavy and you're driving, that impairs your ability to drive the vehicle. I am a living witness of that, and it happened several times to me. So if you're an overthinker, one of the things that's helped me, because I do talk, I'm a natural born talker, and I also like to journal, and I like to write things down, because sometimes so many things come in my brain, I like to write them down. So the same for you. If you're worried, stressed, going through something, make sure you look at maybe jotting some things down, getting a journal book, kind of jotting down what's going on through your thoughts. Because, as I said again, thinking while driving can be not so good for you. And so I just want to encourage you in that area. Also, it's Sunday. I'm not sure what you guys did for the weekend, but pretty much we've been doing kind of car washes and all that to support the memorial for my niece. And so, you know, sometimes you can just get caught up on the weekend just doing, and then you look up, it's what, Monday tomorrow? So making sure you're building in some self-care time during the weekend where you're unplugging from folks and just kind of doing absolutely nothing. You know, how about that? And so that's kind of where I'm at. I had other updates about, I haven't shared, or I may have, I don't remember. Some things go by my brain, something doesn't. But we closed our settlement agreement, if you will, with Syntex Home, which is the builder of our home. It turns out sometimes if you want something when you're a little girl or young man, you kind of think you want to grow up and have certain things because it's just kind of like the American dream, right? So I thought, okay, well, I want the house with the picket fence, 2-story preferably, pool, all the bells and whistles. Well, it turns out, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago, we had a home built by a developer, and it ended up being crappy, like not even built properly. We had a couple of floods from the laundry room that's upstairs, flooded downstairs. We were displaced in a hotel because of all the remodeling. And then after all of the remodeling, it turned out to be another leak someplace else. So basically, it's just been a disaster. So we just settled. It was like a class action suit with the developer. Of course, they wanted to give you pennies. I mean, when you talk about repairs and all the things that need to be repaired, they wanted to give not even enough to get anything fixed. And that's just what lawyers do, I guess, in these class action suits. And so anyway, we finally got a settlement, very small, but I'm going to take and do what repairs that I can. But from that situation, I kind of start going back to Making sure that I personally, and you guys may can relate to this, when you're desiring something, make sure it come from a deeper place than the superficial. I desire to have a single story now as a result of this two-story madness. And of course, I came from an upbringing of actually going to the laundromat, and just the fact that we have a house with a laundry room is kind of one of the bells and whistles you get, I guess, after you do all your college studying and work really hard to try to have some little perks in life. And turns out the perk that I desired turned out to be horrific. But that's probably an isolated incident. But one of the things that I've reflected back on is, like, at my core, I like to create an atmosphere of peace, authenticity, love, laughter, all that stuff. So just as I was in an apartment doing that and cramming my family and friends in, the Lord blessed me to be able to have a larger space to do what I love to do. So for me, if I lived in a trailer, if I lived in an apartment, whatever, authentically who I am is to draw peace and embrace peace and good conversations, good food, good music, and all that. So that's what drives me. So although this situation turned out to be what it is, I am looking for making sure that I'm not jumping on the next deal that's out there and not having done my research. I think if I would have researched a little bit more about this developer, I probably would have seen the other class actions that were going on throughout other parts of the country. And so now I'm more mindful. I take my time. I'm making sure that, whatever I'm shopping for or in the market for is not coming from a space of just wanting the material thing just because it looks cute on the outside, because we master in that as a Americans, I would say. Making sure that you're doing your research and making sure that what it is that you desire is going to line up with what my purpose is. So if the Lord has his way, I would like to go back to the basics of a single story. Just something, because I'm thinking about, okay, when I age, I want to be able to mobilize through the house, and plus just to offer what I love offering, a space of peace and food and love and all that. And so it's just funny, because the things you desire as a kid, you find out, you acquire whatever, and then you find out that it's just overrated. And so that's kind of what my whole point in saying that is. It's just making sure that you're balanced in doing what you do from a deeper space of the superficial. And I was guilty of being superficial at times, and sometimes all the time I'm trying to be more mindful and aware of that. Anything I do have is for the betterment of other people. And so as you social workers are packing your lunches and getting ready for next week and all of that, I would just encourage you to make sure that as you're building your week thing to do list, make sure you're putting in some time to take care of yourself and not taking on extra stuff from people, whether it's your loved ones or anyone. Because as you can see, things happen so quickly. One day you're here. Usually people say the next day you're gone. Now we're like, today you're here, today you're gone. And so you want to make sure that as you're operating in your passions and all that, be passionate about yourself. Be passionate about loving yourself. Be passionate about taking care of yourself. And there's not only just one way to care for people. So if you're at a season where you're questioning your career path or not really sure if this is working for you, that's what I'm here for. I kind of do some exploratory work to kind of see where you're at career-wise, what's the next big step for you or the next small step to meet the goals that you have for your life without compromising what you're called to do by serving. So Talk to Tasha's here. No longer do we have to search who's out there to understand me as a social worker when I am just totally out of the water, drowning in cases and all the demands and all the bureaucratic expectations and all of that. I'm here. I've been there. I've done that, going through that. I totally get it. I love social work. I love social workers. I love what it is that we do. I love the restoration services and different things that we do for families. But I recognize in order to be effective with our families, we also need to be very much so effective with ourselves. And how we do that is a little bit of Talk to Tasha. We have the good convos, the good laugh. But at the end of the day, we dissect everything. Make sure you're in alignment. You have to be in alignment. Because if you don't, everything will come back and bite you. We have absolutely too many social workers that's burning out. There's a lot of different substances that's going on that's spreading across the office, spreading across the career, and not just social work, just the helping profession, public servants in general, because we have secondary trauma we're not wired to process because we have in our mind we're supposed to solve the cares of the world at any cost, which means kind of neglecting ourselves. So if somebody refer you to me, Talk to Tasha, it's because you was referred as a chronic care bear. Just like we do referrals for neglect, there will be a referral process if you're neglecting yourself. So somebody, if you have a coworker that will not get up out of that cubicle, won't get out of that office just to stretch and love on himself or herself, refer them to me. I'm going to be the social work crisis hotline. And all I'm going to do is make sure you're taking care of yourself. You're neglecting yourself, you're going to get a referral to me. And I'm going to make sure you get it right. Because we're not going out like that. We're not going to die in this, spiritually and physically and mentally. You have to take care of yourself. And some of us just don't know how to do that. We say we do, but we just don't know how. I'm going to show you. I'm going to work it around your plan. So Talk to Tasha on Facebook, on YouTube, on whatever else. I don't know. talktotasha.wordpress.com is where I actually blog. And mostly all the blogs have a takeaway. So I encourage you to, if you're sitting in court waiting on the case to be called, I know that's an all-day process sometimes, make sure you use that downtime not to really think about cases and more things, but jump on WordPress, talktotasha.wordpress.com, and check out some of the blogs and some of the takeaways that you can probably apply to your life. Until then, it's Sunday. Go ahead and do the hokey pokey. Turn yourself around, because that's what it's all about. And I will see you guys again. And go ahead and with your bad self and do what you do. Okay? We'll see you soon.